I still don't have total clarity on how Muslic views. I don't have clarity in terms of what he views as the appropriate profile for that position yet. Is it Atwiaji? Is it Karaman? Is it
Let's look at some of the people that are outgoing from the team. Ilyas Hamach will be going out on loan to Amiens. He will join the team on a 1-year deal with an option to buy, so he is headed out on loan. Additionally, Martin Wazinski is going back to Liege on loan. It also includes an option to buy for the second-tier Belgian side. And then in not so good news coming up, Cisse, the guy who had a lot of potential, and it went out of favor with Schalke for whatever reason. Maybe this is part of the reason here, where it says transfer Cisse to Amiens, also the same club that Hamach is going to, has fallen through, unfortunately. And somehow it fits to the story. The whole story is that he failed his medical. And there's a lot of gripe we've heard with Cisse from before, obviously, where we're not there on the ground, but is that he's not taking things seriously. He's out of shape, not physically fit or in game ready. We've heard Gerards and several managers say that he's not game ready or game fit, game shape. This kind of leads to that maybe we thought we were getting something, or he has some underlying injury or something that's going on that he failed his medical, and now he's coming back again. Can't get rid of him. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's super disappointing that we can't even move him to a club like this to help him get some minutes and get some match experience under his belt, which is really fundamentally what he needs more than anything. I think what you're saying is starting to look more likely as time goes on. Like you said, given the consistency across multiple regimes and in periods of time, I'd be interested to see if there's any more information that comes out about why this fell through specifically. Like I said, the medical. So if it is just like, hey, he's just out of shape, like it's not good. Because I mean, it shouldn't have come as a surprise to this guy that he'd be having a medical at some point this summer. I'm pretty sure he was aware that this was the plan in terms of moving and what he would have to do to be able to be in a position to make that happen. So if he isn't doing that, then yeah, it speaks to a professionalism issue and a dedication issue. And like, there's only so long you can coast, on like sort of like the promise of like being like a young talent. Pretty soon you're 22, 23. You know what I mean? And there's people that are coming in that are 19, 20 that are better than you. And like, you're no longer considered promising. You're just considered like a not particularly good,
pretty ado,
normal age player. So like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
random Freddie Adu drive by. I don't know if that was called. I mean, do you harbor resentment as a DC fan?
Yeah, a little bit. I'll say Hashim Matsur too, but that's another one from my past. It's unfortunate because we all like the kid, hoping for him the best, and it seems like the only way he can get minutes now is going to his national club of Mali, and get some time there. That's where he's going off here during the international break with Moussa Sylla. And so, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. It's not the most surprising thing. I mean, I think Victor Boniface failing his medical during the transfer window, to AC Milan. That was kind of surprising there. But, yeah, Cisse, I think, is someone who it just seems like it's one thing after another. The dominoes are starting to stack up, and it's all seeming like it's pointing at him versus like, oh, maybe it's the team didn't. Maybe Gerards or them saw something a while ago that they're like, look, this kid's not professional enough. He's got to learn professional side or something. You would think working under the Knabbeschmiede team there in Norbert Elgert that they would get him and get him ready or something. But I don't know. You can only lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink water, right? I hate to use that stupid cliche, but it might be true in this scenario. Kuroto says, have you talked about our new transfer yet? No, I have not. And that's a good segue because we did get a new man. First, we got a silhouette from Schalke. We're like, who is this going to be? Well, that new man is Christian Gomis, our new number 7. He is coming into Schalke. We thought that Sylla might be going out. And so Schalke's like, we're going to have a fallback plan. We're going to act on it just in case. And it's not contingent on selling of Sylla. So they brought in Gomis, an attacker with a lot of potential coming in from Winterthur. Had some like 5 goals last season, something like that. But he's got a lot of pace, Jack. Loves taking on people one-on-one. And it's an interesting mix of Schalke's attack. But thoughts on this new man? Obviously, I'm not going to assume you know a lot about him because I didn't know a lot about him. But thoughts on Schalke signing an attacker, number 7 here?
Well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out, and I could be totally wrong because I haven't watched a ton of them. But I mean, like, given the comments that are being made about him by the club and by some of the people involved in the signing, the intensity they talk about, the running that he exhibits. I mean, I wonder if this is the signing that um, Muslic was waiting for before he would go into more of that harder pressing style that you were just talking about. Like maybe it's a personnel issue. Maybe he needs somebody at the tip of the spear that really has a specific profile where he feels like he can be aggressive enough and be able to maintain that to make that kind of play style pay off and worthwhile. Because sometimes sometimes it can be like if you can't reach a certain level of it, it's almost better not to do it at all because you're not going to do it like well, you know what I mean? It's just going to be like taxing and like not effective. And so I wonder if this is like something to do with that, but we'll see. If anything, it gives us some additional help there. I mean, look, obviously Lasman's looked really good in cameo roles so far, and we have other people in and around the squad that we think potentially have potential, but they haven't shown it. And also with Sylla not off to a hot start so far this season, I'll welcome whatever attacking help we can get. So yeah, all about it.
Well, you mentioned Sylla and segue there. Rumors are he's going to go, but Sasha Tavolieri commented that Schalke have actually rejected the deal with Valencia. So Valencia was on the table for the last minute there. The details of why Schalke rejected it. So apparently Schalke wanted a paid loan with a $7 million optional buy, and Schalke wanted a mandatory buy. So they didn't want to do that deal. Valencia they wanted to make it optional, not a mandatory, and thus Schalke are trying to get him off the books if they're going to get rid of him, and they said no. So they weren't going to do that. So Schalke said no. Apparently, some other clubs like Swansea and Rennes, Leicester City as well, and one other French club were interested in him, but Anderlecht as well. But ultimately, Schalke said, you know what, we're going to hold on to him. We don't need to sell him. It's not like we brought in Gomis and on the contingency of selling selling Sylla. So now Sylla stays, and Baumann kind of said this in the summer where like I don't necessarily have to sell Bullet and Sylla. One of them probably, but not both of them. And now we see that Sylla stays. He teams up with Gomis, Karaman, maybe Lasme. This gives, to your point, options for Muslic. Obviously, last season Sylla scored a ton of goals, but he's off to a slow start, as you mentioned. How do you see this all shaping out now when you got obviously Gomis coming in? You have Lasme, you have Karaman's probably going to start no matter what, but Sylla, you got Hoyland, you got Remmert. How do you see this working out? Because I something's jumping off the pages to me, but I want to get your take on this first.
I still don't have total clarity on how Muslic views. Once again, I don't know what we want to call that role exactly, but if you want to call it like the dual tens or whatever, behind the striker, dual eights, if you want to. I don't know how we want to refer to it, but like I don't have clarity in terms of what he views as the appropriate profile for that position yet. Is it Atwiaji? Is it Karaman? Is it Bachman? You know what I mean? Like these are not like.
Yeah, so we don't know what Muslic wants, but I think you have an interesting dynamic where you have two slower players who are very creative, Atwiaji and Kenan Karaman, but you also have some pacier players like Lasme and Gomis now with Sylla. You could, depending on the game or depending on how healthy people are, you could mix and match all those different variations there depending on what you need. I think it'd be interesting to see Gomis and Lasme together. Not necessarily both in the top of the front, but one could be played behind the other one. But you got two pacey guys there. Gomis is lightning quick from what I've seen. We know Lasme is as well. So, I mean, you have a bunch of things you could do here if you're Muslic, depending on the team you're playing against. I mean, it's interesting.
If he does want to play a profile of player like, Gomis in that role, like, in one of those, the Karaman or, Bachman role from this previous game, if he wants to do that, then I do think it's probably more likely we see Gomis in that role as opposed to at the top in the number 9 position. I think him getting out wide is in some of the crossing ability and cutbacks and stuff and slashing is going to be probably where we see him more. But yeah, we'll see. I like that we're adding another tool to the box, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we need all the help we can get at the moment. And the good thing also about Gomis is that he's not just one-footed. He's double-footed. He can play both wings. He can cross both ways. So it gives us options, I think, which will help, hopefully, because, as I said, midfield, I think we're sound. Defense, we're sound. and obviously goalkeeper we're set at the moment. So I think if we can figure out the final third, keep playing the defense that we're playing, it only hopefully will do bode us well in the future, and hopefully we figure our stuff out. But before the Hanover match, where that's going to be the next big game, I think, outside of Tulsa and Kiel one. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out, Jack. But I'm excited.